Hello and welcome to Beyond Books, the Shrewsbury Public Library podcast, your audible source for the news, the events, the people, and the exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the Shrewsbury Public Library. My name is Dana, one of your hosts, and I'm over here with Mike.
Hey, I'm Mike Zeller, the assistant director at the library, and I'm excited to be here as well.
Hey.
I've got a lot of pent-up energy because I missed the last. There wasn't room for me in the van.
Yeah,
so
it's a two-seater.
Episode.
That's right. Yeah. So we got you down here today. We have a very cool special guest for us today. This is our first non-library employee on the show.
Branching out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, out into the community here. So today we have our special guest, our local historian and author of Brian's School Project, the story about the Underground Railroad, and she also created a companion board game to this book called Freedom North, the Escape Game to Canada Along the Underground Railroad. We have Carol Baker. Carol.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for being on the show and coming down here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Great. So I assume this is your first time on microphone before,
Oh, yes.
Yeah. First and possibly not last. So.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities. This show is listened to by thousands of people.
We get about 3,000 listens a month on this stuff.
That's
Isn't that
great.
Wild? Cool, huh?
That's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've published a book. You've got a super cool board game that goes with it. So tell me, first of all, tell me a little bit about you and how this came to be.
Well, how this came to be, in 2017, I became one of the historians at the First Congregational Church across the street.
Sure.
And this year, we're celebrating our 300th celebration.
That's right, yeah.
And
Exciting.
our group could not wait to get into the historian's office because it's been locked for years.
Like the
with
Disney
all
Vault.
These,
Yeah.
Yes. So when we got into the office and started organizing files, I kept coming across interesting little things that sort of pointed the direction in the Underground Railroad, and everything was so secret and nobody could talk about it.
Sure.
And you could get in trouble and you could go to jail and be fined.
Whoa, crazy.
So as the pieces came together, I spoke with them and I said, what do you think about making this one of our 300th celebration events? They all loved the idea. So that's sort of how it got started. But because we have children in the congregation, there has to be something for them.
Sure.
So I needed to kind of bring it down to a 3rd, 4th grade level and make the story readable for them, but also make it fun. So that's how it started.
All right. Very neat. So you have this is a fictional story.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
historical fiction.
Right, yeah. About a group of kids, right, who were discovering this.
Who go to school here in Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how long did it take you to first create the story and then tell me the process of the publication?
All right, so first to create the story, this is a work that I've been in progress for 5 years.
Yeah.
I presented it to the historians, and they said, that's nice, Carol. And so
geez.
I put it away for 3 years. And then there's a great girl in our congregation, Kathleen Rochelot. She said, let me read it. She's an editor.
Oh.
She said, this has got good bones. Let me go through it. And she went through it, and she came back with positive comments. So we dug it out of mothballs.
All right.
Polish it up a little bit. The second part of your question was the publication process. So I spoke with several different people who have self-published, and they encouraged me, that's the way you need to go. I know nothing about publishing. So I said, okay, this is what I'll do. I will send the manuscript to the first publisher, and when they reject me, I'll send it to the second publisher, and so on. Here I am on the internet. And the first publisher took it.
That's
Awesome.
astounding. That never happens.
Never. So then all I had to do was write out the check, and they did the rest.
And I'm just looking at the back of the book here. Dorrance Publishing
Durant's
Company.
Publishing.
Durant's, okay.
They are out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They were established by a black group of people, so maybe that's why they like the Underground Railroad story. But they did everything. They did the cover, they did the editing, they did the page layout. So it was great for me because then all I had to do was forget about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, neat.
Yeah,
That's great.
that is excellent. Well, Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania in general was like a big seat
Very
of the
active.
abolitionist movement, right?
Very
Yeah.
active. Very active. Yeah.
Oh, very neat. So the book, so you had the book, and he said, I need to do more. So
Okay.
tell me about that.
All right. So what happened as the story was going on, it can be a little dry. You know, this is what happened, and this is where they went, and blah, blah, blah. And you picture a little kid, third grade, fourth, fifth grade. Boring. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So when I came up with the idea of the school project, I thought, well, the whole situation for over 150 years was so sad. Yeah. And you don't want to make it into a game because it wasn't a game. But it would help reinforce what the kids read in the story. The idea is that you set off from the plantation. You draw a card. The card sends you to a ship in Wilmington, North Carolina, and then you go on your way. But the next turn, you draw a card, and you lose a turn because you were caught as a stowaway. Oh. And so every move that the children make, they're able to see how difficult this trip was for the fugitives who were trying to escape. So then I found a graphic artist, and I said to him, so can you build the game? And he started, and he did a great job. He gave us the game board. He gave us the cards. He did a fabulous job. And then, for some reason, he said, I really can't go on with this project. So then I found Mariah Pike, who lives in Shrewsbury. She put all the little paths to Canada. She took the quilting patterns and put them so that when they draw the card, they would go to that quilting pattern and be on their way. And what you see is the polishing that she did to the game. Some kids, they got to Canada in 2 rolls. The first roll got them to the Sumner House, the safe house, and then they rolled a 6 on the dice, and boom, they were in Canada.
Yeah. Okay.
But the others took them a while, and they were all over. My hope was that this book and this game would be a teaching aid for the teachers who are presenting this in school. Now, I have given it to the school department, and they are looking at it.
Cool.
But it's step 1.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So when I first was presented the game, I said, wow, this is legit. I mean, this looks like something you'd buy at the store. I mean, this is real.
Yeah.
So is there a certain like company that like because who would think, hey, I've never made a board game before, let me try it. So obviously you got your graphic designer and people helping you out, but you must have go to some sort of a company that has to package it or put it all together, right?
Okay.
So, the board, the whatever, right? I mean, obviously, I know we were a big part of this, so I should talk about that now.
Yes.
When I started here and we got 3D printing back up and running, resurrected after the pandemic, and one of the first orders I got was to do this insane amount of these little baskets. I did some prototype ones, different designs, and then one was picked, and I spent forever just printing out a whole bunch of these different colored baskets. And I had no idea what this stuff was. I mean, usually when somebody does a 3D print request, I don't know what it's for. I don't ask questions. I just print, right? And I'm like, this is crazy. What am I doing printing all these for? And then later on, afterwards, after printing them, I come to find out, it's for this local board game. Oh, wow, cool. It's awesome. So here I am. Boom. I'm given the board. So I go downstairs. I see Sonia in our children's department. I said, hey, can you grab me the board game so I could see it? She pulls it out. I'm like, this is real. This is legit. Wow, great. And I opened the box, and there's those baskets that I made. Whoa, great.
Yeah.
Wow. So pretty neat.
We're so grateful that you did that.
I'm happy to have done it. Yeah.
So initially, I had gone on Amazon and ordered baskets.
Sure.
And then we took it over to the Spring Street School after-school program to kind of try it out. All the baskets came back broken. They were made out of this woven raffia stuff.
Sure.
So we needed something more sturdy.
Oh, well, that plastic of the 3D printer will do the trick for you. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Who did the designs of the 3D design of the basket?
That was done by Tim O'Leary.
Okay.
O'Leary Creations. He is a graphic artist right here in Shrewsbury, and he has been such a source of support. He helped me design my second board game, which is the Rocky Plains story. Shrewsbury was built on the Rocky Plains. So we have got all the original deeds and who bought the houses and where they were and houses that people build, and we actually build the town of Shrewsbury. He did that as well as the baskets.
Oh, cool.
For Freedom North.
Awesome. Wow.
But the printing, oh my gosh.
Yeah, tell me all about that.
I went online and I Googled board game publishers. I want a publisher who will help market the product.
Sure.
I can imagine this must have been a bigger to-do than doing the book. Obviously, okay, hey, book publisher, can you make this? Yeah, sure, we'll do the artwork, we'll put it all together, boom, done, right?
No,
Not the same thing, huh?
So the first company said, well, we only have 2 colors for the game board.
Oh.
And I thought, well, I've got more than 2 colors.
Yeah.
And then the second company said, well, we have some problems with our ink. And so we could do 70 decks of cards for you, and they might not be the right color. And I said, well, do I need to pay for the 70 decks of cards? Oh, yeah. You have to pay for them, even though the color isn't right.
Now, I'm curious, as somebody who, I have a small business. I won't talk about that because I'm not supposed to, but as somebody who has to deal with suppliers, right, wholesalers, stuff like that, there's an MOQ, like a minimum order quantity. Did you have that kind of an issue where they say, oh, you have to make 10,000 board games or something, you know what I mean?
2,000.
2,000, wow.
Minimum.
Yeah.
I had to print 2,000. And then I grew up outside of Boston. I went to a publisher outside of Boston, and they said, we do nothing historical or political.
Okay.
And so that was the end. So I went online to boardgamemakers.com and had them done in China.
Wow.
Now, I had to pay $1 bazillion for the prototype for the first game.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what kind of work do they do. It was fabulous.
Yeah.
So then I went back and I ordered 15. And that's all I have.
Yeah.
So the library got one.
Yeah.
The Historical Society in Shrewsbury, the Historical Society in Boylston, they were instrumental in helping me.
Yeah.
The Congregational Church and the school department.
Nice. Now, my question is, when dealing with this company, and you had to have this outsourced, from the time that you put it together and said, okay, great, you have your prototype made, how long did you have to wait for them to start production until it was shipped to you?
I got it in 6 weeks.
6 weeks? No
6
way.
weeks. Well,
Get out of town.
everything is done on the internet.
I know,
You
but I
give
mean,
them
they have to, they got to make it, and it has to get sent from here, from China, right? I mean, wow. That's
My first-
really
super fast.
My first game was $90.38.
Wow.
With $48 to ship it to America. That's crazy.
I mean,
you can go to Walmart and for $19.99 buy a board game.
I've ordered product for my own stuff, and I'm still waiting on it. It's been months, So I'm shocked. Yeah.
So I'm looking for, what I would like to do is to submit it to Scholastic.
Wow,
because I think
cool.
it's a great
Yeah.
teacher's aid.
Yeah.
But I don't have a source, I can give them my sample game and say, it's up to you guys. But they go together.
Right. Yeah.
They go together. Yeah.
Wow. Pretty neat stuff.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Oh, hey,
Appreciate it.
I mean, it's not very often that you get somebody who's making a book and a board game. You know what I mean? And I just think it's neat to hear all the you know, the trials and tribulations of
and
trying
boy,
to do all that stuff.
they were there. They were there.
That's the one thing that's interesting that I think a lot of people don't think about is when you make something. Again, I worked in TV for a long time. When you make a final product, wow, cool video or whatever. People don't realize what it took to make that. Or okay, you're an author, right? This could be for anybody. All the books that are in this place, whatever, right? Cool, great book, awesome story, whatever. But for instance, when I used to work in Waltham, and I knew a chef who wrote a cookbook, and he was telling me, he was all cool, wow, great, I got my cookbook published, whatever. And when he was telling me the nightmare that it was to try to get this thing published,
absolutely,
right? So there's that whole behind the scenes story that I find very captivating. So, yeah.
Well, if you're lucky enough to find a publisher, they take it right off your plate.
Yeah.
I think self-publishing would be more difficult, but much more affordable.
Yeah, sure. I understand that there's a service. I think it's through Amazon. My old boss in Northborough, her husband grew up in Scotland and wrote an autobiography and just got it published. You can make as many copies as you want, and you can just sell it on Amazon or something like that, right? So I think there's so many more opportunities for people who want to do publishing these days. Maybe not so much for board games, but at least for books, right? So, very, very neat stuff.
Thank you.
So what's your plan now? Where do you see this going?
I don't know.
I mean, obviously we're talking about Scholastic, right? But where else what are you thinking here? Anything else?
I didn't do it for the money.
Yeah.
So as far as promoting it, it's either going to catch on or it isn't. I did it for the 300th celebration. If I'm fortunate enough that it turns into something lucrative, great. But if it doesn't, again, I didn't do it for the money. Toying with the idea, when I had done the presentation, the Underground Railroad in Shrewsbury examining the evidence, I've got a ton of evidence that points in the direction that this was stop. And I'd love to be able to place one of these dossiers in the library for people who want to research it.
Yeah, neat.
But it needs to be edited. And I need to put in, okay, so you're looking at this photocopy of this page of this land grant. You need to have an explanation. Here's when the guy did this, here's where he lived, here. You need a narration to go with it.
Sure.
So maybe I'll go in that direction, but I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, hey, we're all rooting for you and
Thank you.
Hoping the best.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and it's been a great journey. And every time I turn around, I'm uncovering something else, and that makes the excitement continue.
Sometimes it's not so much about the destination as it is the journey, right?
It is. That's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
What was the most surprising part of the whole process? What was there any discovery that you made that you're like, oh wow, or along the line of production, was there any point where you're like, wow, I never would have thought that we need to do that?
The first part of your question, the most surprising I stumbled onto right in the beginning, and that was the memorials of Joseph Sumner. Now, he was the second pastor who lived in the Sumner house. He wrote clues into his life notes that screamed that this was true. And the thing that was so surprising was he was the pastor of the church back at that time.
Yeah.
And you have to read between the lines of the memorials to actually get it. And so that was something that was the most surprising. The second part of your question.
About when the production process,
Okay.
what was kind of
the shock, the heart failure, was when that first publishing company took it.
Yeah, that's wild. You never hear that.
3 days later, I got the notification, your book has been accepted for publication. You could have knocked me over with a feather.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was amazed.
As librarians, we interact with a lot of authors or read a lot of, interviews with authors, and they all say the same thing, which is like, oh yeah, it took 150 submissions, or I had to submit, 60 times to different publishers before anybody took it. And so that's astounding that somebody did it that fast.
Well, this whole thing has been a gift to me because I would never have speculated in a million years that it would have gone,
Yeah.
especially where it was received lukewarm. And I thought, I'm marching to the beat of my own
Yeah.
drum and nobody else is listening, you
Yeah,
know.
sure.
It's been shocking that there are as many people interested in the topic
Yeah, well, it's
as are. Yeah.
there's a lot of culturally, I feel like a lot of people are really addressing that nowadays. There's a lot of interest in DEI and in reckoning with the history of slavery. So it's definitely a popular topic.
Yeah. And then I did find concrete proof that the Underground Railroad was active in Shrewsbury.
Oh, that's
In 1792, Benjamin Prentice was caught, apprehended, and taken back to his owner in New London, Connecticut. And a year later, in 1793, he escaped again, lived for a few years in Stowe, Massachusetts, and then moved to Marlborough. And he was, at the time, the oldest living resident of Marlborough. He shows up in the census records, and he's right there. And he was found in Shrewsbury. Of course, I want to know who he was with and how he was caught.
Yeah,
And was
yeah.
he in Dr. Sumner's barn? I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
So you just speculate. But that's proof.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's so tricky to track some of that stuff down. Because when was the Fugitive Slave Act? When was
That was, I believe, I'm going to get this wrong. I want to say 1754.
okay? So
That's what I want to say. But that could have been when they did the census to find out how many slaves there were.
yeah,
In Massachusetts, the Indians and the French were really posing a problem with the British colonies.
Yeah.
They wanted to be able to recruit these people
Yeah.
to help fight on the side of Britain. And then we had the George Bush family. They lived in Shrewsbury, and he was a black man from the Caribbean. He lived on the Gulf for a while. He came to Narragansett, Rhode Island, married, brought his children to Shrewsbury, bought land from Nahum Ward, bought land from John Keyes, built farms, and his 3 sons served in the war against the Indians and the French, and none of them survived. So those records I found
Yeah.
documented in the
Yeah.
historian's office, too. It was great. It was such fun.
Wow, amazing
Digging.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like looking for treasure, So, yeah.
finding it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing stuff. Wow. Well, this has been great. If anybody, just want to let everybody know that we do have a copy of your book, and we do have the board game here, and both are available to loan. So if anybody wants to read the book, get the board game and or both, by all means, come on down here to the library. We'll get it for you.
and if anybody from Scholastic is listening,
Oh, yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
we can make some connections here.
That would be fabulous. It's a great teacher's aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Carol, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a
Wonderful.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you also.
All right, everyone. So we have a bunch of really cool events happening in the month of June this year, and we're gonna just go through a couple of highlights, some of the tip of the iceberg right here of some of the great
There's-
events that we have.
There's always more you can see on our calendar.
Lots
so-
more, yeah. And so make sure you head over to our website and check out those calendars. Kicking it off now, it's summertime.
It
Summertime
is.
at the library.
It is.
All right. It's the warm season, and there's nothing better in the summer than summer reading.
Oh yeah, sitting on. I love to sit on my porch with a book and just sit with my cats and just
Yeah.
lounge out there
Yeah,
on a sunny
yeah.
day.
All right. So, kicking it off in the children's room, we have a summer reading kickoff party on June 22nd.
It's gonna be exciting.
Oh, yeah, very exciting. And summer reading itself officially starts on June 26th. Your kids can sign up on our Beanstack app, which is at shrewsburyma.beanstack.org. You can also do it in person, and you can log all of your reading, all of your minutes, and there's lots of cool badges and weekly prizes you can get. And most importantly, the prize wheel is back again this year.
Everybody loves that prize wheel.
You go downstairs and it's like a Wheel of Fortune, right? You spin the wheel and you see the fun stuff that you can win, including a really cool 3D printed toy made by yours truly.
That's one of the most popular prizes.
That is the grand prize.
The kids love the 3D printing voucher. Yeah.
Yeah.
And backtracking a little bit to the kickoff party, some
Yeah.
other exciting things. We will be having all sorts of free snacks and games. There'll be giveaways. We're going to have the kind of not keynote, but the main event is going to be a circus performance.
Oh,
We have
yeah,
a one-man
right.
circus performer. He's great. And we will have our local author showcase, who our guest, Carol, will be joining us for that. We'll have about 15 or so local authors. So if you want to meet and greet with them, including Carol, including our trustee, April Jones Prince, that's always a really great turnout. It's a fun day.
Awesome.
Starting at 2 o'clock.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool stuff. And then back to 3D printing. Myself and one of our librarians, Sarah, we are going to be doing a 3D printing basics class and showcase for children on June 29th at 3 o'clock downstairs in the children's program room. So if your kid is interested in doing CAD or 3D modeling or 3D printing in general, this is a great way for the youngins to really sort of dip their toes into the world of 3D printing. Sarah and I have been doing this over here for about a year, so we're pretty versed in this stuff by now. So we're going to be showing kids, how it works. We're going to bring one of the printers down there, bring some pre-printed models so kids can touch them and see what they feel like, what these things are supposed to do, a 3D printer's capabilities, what kind of stuff you can design on our CAD programs. And there'll just be a really good way for people just to, young people just to get into this stuff for the first time if that's something that they're interested in. And, honestly, having the 3D printer downstairs, the kids, they think it's so cool. So interesting. I have so many parents that come up to me and say their kids are so interested in this stuff. So it's a really great way for your kids to just come in and ask us questions and get to really see what this stuff is all about.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I used to do that class back in the day with the kids. Do you still do that? Do you let them get a free print if they attend the class?
Oh, that's the plan. Yeah. I think we're going to do a coupon kind of a thing.
Yeah. So anybody who attends the class gets to print a free 3D printed object.
Yeah. Cool stuff. And then, again, it's summertime, so our summer crafternoons is back, starting on Friday, June 30th. You can just drop right in, no registration required. There's going to be a weekly theme involved. It's going to be cool stuff. So, yeah, kids love all the crafty stuff. And then heading over to teens on June 6th at 6:30, our YMCA Youth Corps is going on there. We have a partnership with the YMCA. It's sort of a leadership program for high school students. It's a 4-week program to get involved in all kinds of different leadership training, job readiness skills, CPR, first aid training. So if your high school teen is interested in that kind of thing, it's a great way to get into it, to get involved. And then also, if your teen is interested in doing this is kind of neat, like a drum circle.
The drum circle,
That's cool.
Yeah, we've done that a few times before. In the past.
So that's happening on Friday, June 30th at 2 o'clock. That should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then over to our adult programs. Yeah. Again, there's so many going on as always. We're just giving you a handful right here. This is just a little tasting of what's going on here in June. And summers are always very popular. The summer is very busy here. I mean, some could say, hey, it's because we have great air conditioning in here, sure. But we also have a tremendous amount of awesome programs. Yeah. It's just an awesome place to be. If you can't be down the Cape, you should be here. Yeah. All right? That's what I have to say.
Do you want me to do the adult programs?
Sure.
All right. So, so on Tuesday, June 6th, from 7 to 8 p.m., we are going to have a local performer, Matt York. He's going to offer his program, Johnny Cash Songs and Stories, where he kind of musically goes through the career of Johnny Cash from the 50s until his passing in 2003. Matt's done a few other concerts here for us before. They're very well attended. He's a very talented guy. And this is sponsored by, oh gosh, I'm going to forget. It's either the Mass Cultural Council or the Shrewsbury Cultural Council. It's on the calendar.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
One of our local cultural, they're all kind of connected, but the Cultural Council sponsor that. They are very supportive of those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday, June 8th at 7, we are going to have Justice Dennis Curran back to give the third of his series of 3 lectures about the law. He will be presenting Hollywood and the Courtroom, the Anatomy of a Trial. And what he's going to do for that, he'll have a presentation with a bunch of short clips, video clips of different courtroom scenes from popular films. And he's going to kind of go in and dissect and talk about, what's accurate, what's inaccurate. All of his lectures have been super, super well received. It's the folks who went to them. He did that the true crime one about the murder at Harvard. He did a one about Lincoln and Lincoln's history with Massachusetts, and everybody who attended loved them. So that's going to be a really fun program, I think. I think this will probably be the most popular of the 3, just because it's dealing with film and cinema.
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, and then Monday, June 12th at 7, we are going to have an evening with Travel Channel's Ronnie LeBlanc, Expedition Bigfoot.
I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah, no, this is going to be really cool. Yeah, so Ronnie, he did, I think he just did a similar presentation with the Senior Center a few months back that was really well attended. So yeah, he is the host of Expedition Bigfoot and Paranormal Caught on Camera for Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. And he's going to talk about some paranormal hotspots and just kind of the Bigfoot situation. He's going to give us an update on Bigfoot.
Yeah.
If anybody's seen him yet. But yeah, I think that's going to be a really fun program.
I think that's probably going to get booked up real fast.
I
Stuff
think so.
like that is really popular.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, that's a good point, Dana. If you haven't already, make sure you register for these programs through our online calendar, or you can give us a call at the library. We'll take care of it for you.
Yeah, and again, feel free to just check out all of our calendars up on our website at shrewsburypubliclibrary.org. So with that said, we're going to start calling it. We're going to wrap it up here. Start calling it a day. As always, I really want to thank Shrewsbury Media Connection for supplying us with the podcast recording gear to do this show. You could always go to their website at shrewsburymediaconnection.org. I always want to thank our composer, Philip Zhang, for creating our awesome podcast music.
It's a great song.
Yeah. And as always, if you want to get in touch with us, right over here at 609 Main Street, right in the center of town, give us a buzz at 508-841-8609. Head over to our website at shrewsburypubliclibrary.org, or if you want to just shoot us a quick email about anything, go to splreference at cwmis.org. Well, that should do it for this show. This has been Dana.
I'm Mike.
And we got to thank Carol Baker for hanging out with us today.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Have a great month, everybody.